Hello YouTube viewers, today we're going to make a video about my story of how I was diagnosed and found out that I had ulcerative colitis. As some of you may know, I made already two videos, one of the human injection and one from the Activio. So here we go. Let's start off by introducing myself. My name is Lourdes. Just call me Maria because my mom killed me with that name. Anyways, my name is Lourdes Maria, and I am 26 years old. I when I was 12, I started getting a lot of pain and diarrhea. It was just constantly and constantly and constantly and constantly. So, my mother would just go buy me, medicines for it, thinking it was like a virus or something. So after trying everything and after 2 weeks, nothing got better. So I started bleeding after them 2 weeks, and she was like, wait, hold up, this is not normal. Let's She took me to the health department so I could get a referral to a GI doctor, because doctors just don't see you just because you're bleeding, or like just like that, unless you don't have a referral. So they referred me to a doctor in, it's like 45 minutes where I live. And they went over there. We went over there, and when we went over there, the doctor, started telling my mother that according to the symptoms that he thinks I may have ulcerative colitis, but that he didn't want to diagnose me yet because, let's do a colonoscopy first and all that stuff. Anyways, my mother, in the back of her head, kind of already knew that it was ulcerative colitis when the doctor mentioned it to her, because my father passed away in 1990 of ulcerative colitis. Also, the year I was born, I was like a month old or something when he passed away, but he died of ulcerative colitis. And so my mom, in the back of her head, when the doctor mentioned it to her, she was like, "Oh my God, I think it is that." So, anyways, they did an appointment for the colonoscopy, and it came back that I have ulcerative colitis. So when the results came back, they started me off on Asacol, 6 pills a day, and the prednisone, which, oh my God, prednisone, you know how prednisone is. So I was like, I lost so much. Well, always, I was always like a little small girl, but all the diarrheas and stuff, I went down to like 72 pounds or something. And we were on school vacation at that time, so everything was done in school vacation. So when I went back to school, I was already on the prednisone. So you could just imagine, I went back like a big fat balloon, and me being 12, and you know how the kids are, and they just see a little skinny girl, and all of a sudden they just see this big balloon girl because they're swollen. I started getting making fun of, and I even failed the 7th grade just because I missed so many, school days, and I wasn't really learning that much because of the pains and stuff. My head wasn't concentrating good enough and all that, and all the appointments and all that stuff. So I had to repeat the 7th grade and make fun of and all that. So it wasn't really a good, Anyway, I continued on that for a little bit. I got better, and I was normal until like 2000, and I would say 2006, around there. They changed my medication to the Asacol HD, which was basically the same thing, but you only had to take 2 pills instead of 6. So it actually made a big difference. So I was really happy about that. So after that, I started on that, and all of a sudden it stopped working, and I started, getting pains again and diarrhea. So they had to put me back on prednisone back in probably like 2000, and I think it was between 2000 and I don't really remember the year. So anyways, they put me in, the prednisone and whatever. They continued me, and they also got HD until 2000, and I'm sorry, I wrote it down because I forget. 2000 and okay, 2015. Sorry. In 2015, they stopped me because it wasn't working, so they put me on the Humira, which I was on it for a good 2 years. But the thing is that in the 2 years, that Humira wasn't working, which I never knew that. I kind of thought it was. I wasn't having no pain. I was having nothing until boom, I started getting the worst pain right here in my stomach, and that was back in 2016 at the beginning of the year. So, oh my God, the worst pain. It was like somebody was just grabbing your stomach and just going like this to it. It was horrible. So I went to the emergency room and they gave me morphine and pain went away. They did some labs and whatever. Supposedly it was a virus and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, they sent me home and I was fine for maybe a couple of months until November 2016. When November, the pain started again out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm getting this pain again. Please, not let it be, because it's horrible. The pain is horrible. Um, it started again. I had to go back to the emergency room, back to morphine, trying to stop the pain, and everything was really, it was really painful. Like it was horrible, and they stopped my pain, and when they did a couple of labs and all that stuff, that time I think, yeah, that time when I went over there, I stood 3 days in a hospital because they said that I had my spleen was like it had an inflammation, and I think, oh yeah, my spleen had inflammation, so they kept me there and whatever. So they kept my pain under control and whatever for 3 days. They sent me home, and then back in February 2017, that was this year, the pain started again, even worse, like 10 times worse. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why? So I went back to the emergency room. That day I had to call the ambulance, matter of fact. Took me to the hospital, back in morphine. They did tests, and my blood, this is a different one, that my blood started dropping, and they had to give me a blood transfusion, and the spleen again was, had inflammation and other little things that were just adding up. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. So I stood 3 days in a hospital that day, and they did everything they had to do and whatever. And they did a colonoscopy. No, I stood 5 days. It was 3 days back in November, and then 5 days in February. So I stood 5 days, and when I stood in 5 days, they did a colonoscopy. They gave me blood and a whole bunch of stuff. They had like a bacteria stuff. They had the prednisone, all this different things just going through my veins without eating, and it was horrible. So they kept, they put me a little normal, and they took me back home. Well, they sent me back home, and after that, I was normal for a little bit again, and again it happened back in March. This time it didn't even take that long, and the pain, oh my goodness, no, I couldn't freaking take it. So it was horrible, and they found out that I did had a flare up from the ulcerative colitis, and the blood again. I needed another blood transfusion, and all that day they kept me 7 days, and it was so horrible. I mean, they put morphine and nothing seemed to work. Like the morphine, they used to put the morphine and the pain was still so freaking strong that I could feel it, and then just look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, I can't take it. I was screaming and screaming and screaming like I couldn't take the pain. It was horrible. So that day they took me to the hospital and whatever. They gave me the morphine. I kind of calmed down at the beginning, but then it just kept going and it didn't work. And they wanted to take my spleen out because they did the tests and whatever. And they said my spleen got inflammation, which I already knew that. But they wanted to take it out. And I remember my doctor saying not to let nobody do surgery on me unless she approves to it, which she's 45 minutes away. So I told them no, and I told them I wanted to get transferred to the hospital 45 minutes away. So they did that. My doctor did tests. She said she didn't have that. Thank God that they didn't do that, because if they would have taken it out, I would have died. Because my small intestine, I guess that the spleen or appendix, it's the appendix. I've been saying spleen this whole time. Sorry. Well, I think the spleen is, I don't know, something's with that is inflated. Everything's inflated, but it was my appendix. They wanted to take my appendix out, and I guess the appendix is connected to the large intestine. That's where the ulcerative colitis is at. So if they would have taken that out, it was a big risk of bleeding, and I could have just bleed out and died. So they said, I don't know why they wanted to mess with that. And thank God that I went over there where she's at. So they just gave me, like, I still 7 days in the hospital. They gave me everything that I had to get. And as soon as I got out of the hospital, since I was already, I went to get seen with her. And that's when she just started me on the Antivio and prednisone again, because um the Antivio doesn't work, doesn't put it in works magic. I guess you gotta wait like 3 months or something for it to start working. And so far, I've been doing good. I was on, on medication, of course, and in November I get my when I went back to the my GI doctor, which she's awesome. She's a lovely woman. Anyways, when I went back to my doctor, she changed my diagnosis from ulcerative colitis to Crohn's disease. So now I say I have Crohn's disease, which I have. It's kind of like the same thing, but ulcerative colitis is your large intestine. Crohn's disease is more than one stuff that's have inflammation, I guess. Yeah. So I have Crohn's disease now. I get my next colonoscopy in November to see if the Entyvio is working, and that's it, you guys. It's been a long journey since 2002 to 2017. Still alive, thank you, Jesus, and thanking God for everything, no matter what, because it could be worse, and hopefully not to get another flare because them things are horrible. And anyways, if you have any questions, you guys, you could comment below. You could subscribe if you want. You could like if you want. Whatever you want. And thank you for watching my videos. And see you next time.